She was beautiful and she was smart. And she was from Hermanville, Mississippi. And she became the annual queen at one of the most prestigious high schools in Copiah County. And she was only 14. Hey everybody, I'm Steve Collins and welcome to another Copiah County, Hazlehurst, Mississippi Black History Moment. SVCC Productions and a Copiah County, Hazlehurst, Mississippi Black History Moment, we always try to do our very best to bring you the very best untold Black history of Copiah County. And this one is no exception. Her name was Annie Earnestine O'Quinn. Ernestine, or should I say Sting, as she was so affectionately known by her siblings, became the 1950-51 annual queen of Parrish High School, formerly the Hazlehurst Negro School that was located on Larkin Street. Ernestine was only 14 and a freshman at the time. So how did Ernestine O'Quinn from Claiborne County, Hermanville, Mississippi, became the 1951 annual queen of the Parrish High School in Copiah County, Hazlehurst, Mississippi, which was over 25 miles away? Her story will surprise you. Let's jump off into it. Ernestine O'Quinn, born Annie Ernestine O'Quinn, March 17, 1936, was the third child of 12, born to Oliver O'Quinn Sr. and Catherine Walters O'Quinn of Hermanville, Mississippi. Hermanville, Mississippi, back in the 1940s and 50s, was a small town described as a humble scatter of buildings around crossroads and a single-room post office. School segregation was a significant issue in Claiborne County, Mississippi, where Hermanville is located. African American students had limited educational opportunities and faced significant disparities in resources compared to white students. The school term for black students was often shorter, limiting their attendance and educational progress. Black students were often taught in overcrowded 1- or 2-room shacks, serving as schools, and could only go as far as the 8th grade. Mamie O'Quinn Camper, Ernestine's younger sister, remembers Sting showing leadership skills at an early age.
She wasn't shy of anything, I tell you that. She was a child that would speak up for herself if she thought anybody was doing her wrong. She was very outgoing. She was a leader.
So was she very mature for her age?
Yes.
Okay.
Mature for age, and plus she's very smart too. I have to add that in.
St. Mark's, the school that Ernestine went to, was a 1-room school, and you could only go as high as the 8th grade. During the 1930s, 40s, and even 50s, 1-room schools and church house schools for blacks only went as high as the 8th or maybe 10th grade. To further your education, you had to go to another city or state. So how did she end up in Hazlehurst?
Oh, that's a little story. When she graduated, we were going to the 1-room school. And when she graduated, in the area where we lived down in Hermanville, it was only 2 children graduated from the school that year. In the neighborhood altogether, it was about 4 children graduated from other schools, but still in the area. And they would not, Copiah County would not send a bus down to pick up 4 kids and bring them to Hazlehurst. Because we was like 25 miles from Hazlehurst. That's where we lived. And my mother and the other parent, at least I know one parent. Now you got to remember I was only 13, but I remember them saying this. Tried to get the people in the Board of Education, whoever it was, to send a bus to pick up these kids up. They would not do it, so they couldn't do it. and they didn't do it.
Ernestine's closest option would be to attend the Utica School in Utica, Mississippi, but the Utica School was 20 miles away, and there was no transportation, no relatives or even friends for Earnestine to stay with in order to attend the Utica School.
So Mother had to find somebody in Hazlehurst for her to live with, which was our cousin, and her name was Mariella, and she lived behind the Armstrong's house. He had two little small houses behind his house, so I'm thinking now he rented it to our cousin, so that's where Earnestine lived.
So in May of 1950, Ernestine graduated the 8th grade from the St. Mark's School, a one-room schoolhouse located in her hometown of Hermanville, Mississippi. In order to further her education, Ernestine moves to Hazlehurst, stays with her cousin Mary Ella Crawford, and attends the Parrish High School, formerly known as the Hazlehurst Negro School, located on Larkin Street, under the leadership of Principal Ed Parrish. But something happened. Ernestine, as a 9th grader, a freshman at Parrish High, became the annual high school queen. How did that happen?
Now I don't know. The only thing we knew, only thing I know, now you got to remember I was 13. And my mother and father, we didn't have no type transportation. And I do know that I never heard them say they went to Hazlehurst when they had no parade or nothing like that. When she came home from school, in the school that year, she brought us this picture, as far as I know, and showed us this beautiful, we just thought that was the most beautiful picture. And we just so excited. Our sister was a queen, because, that just meant so much to us. So. But how she came, she had to have some help, but I just don't know anything to tell you about how it happened.
This is what we do know. During the 1940s, 50s, and the first part of the 60s, it was all about who could raise the most money. And whoever could raise the most money would become the annual high school queen. It didn't matter if you were in the 9th, 10th, 11th, or even the 12th grade. It was all about who could raise the most money. And whoever raised the most money would become the annual high school queen. And each student that participated had a sponsor. There were elementary school queens as well. Elementary was considered 8th grade back down to the 3rd grade. And the same rule applied. Whoever raised the most money would become elementary school queen. What we don't know is who sponsored Ernestine and how much money did she raise. Because somebody...
I don't know either. Only thing I do know that my parents couldn't have sponsored because we were very poor. We were poor and we knew we was poor. Some kids is poor and they don't know they're poor when they're younger. But we were poor and we knew we was poor. So money was very scarce. Now, our cousin, what I said, was named Mariella, and her husband was Wilson. I don't know where they helped her, or she had some kind of sponsors at school, or some teacher helped her. We feel that must have been, because I couldn't figure out how she got the gown.
And I noticed how beautiful her hair was. Is that the way she wore her hair? Or
that's her hair. That's her hair.
Okay, she actually wore it like that?
Yeah, every day.
And it was a beautiful headpiece that she had on. I mean, everything was just elegant.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I can't figure out the earrings because we didn't have no pierced ears or anything. Matter of fact, she didn't get her ears pierced and she was grown, so I know the ears wasn't pierced. So, but I don't know where those two, they could have been just clip-on, but I don't remember her having no earrings like that.
Ernestine did not graduate from Parrish. She only went to Parrish during her freshman and sophomore years. However, she did make a significant impact and contribution to Parrish by becoming the annual high school queen. Ernestine ended up going to school at Utica, And this is how she ended up at Utica.
What happened? Now this was the first year. This was when she graduated from the 8th grade. The second year, I was right behind her, a year younger than her. It was about 5 of us in the neighborhood that graduated from the 8th grade that year. So that was enough for the Board of Ed to do something to get these kids to high school. So what happened was, they wouldn't send a bus though. It was a young man that lived about a mile and a half from us, and he had a vehicle, so he was going to drive himself to school. So what they got together, they paid him. He had a pickup truck. They paid him to box it in the back, like put it and put seats in the back and take these kids to Utica Institute. So that's where we went to high school, Utica Institute.
After 1 year of junior college, Earnestine decided she didn't want to go to school anymore. So she got married and had 6 kids. In the early 1980s, Annie Earnestine O'Quinn started one of the first CB radio clubs in Jackson, Mississippi. The club was called Smoke Blowers, and Earnestine was the president. Her CB handle was Christy Love, patterned after her favorite TV show, Get Christy Love. Ernestine's life, which was full of love, joy, peace, and happiness, was cut short due to her failing health issues with breast cancer. Earnestine died December 15, 1990 at 9:30 p.m. at the Mississippi Baptist Medical Center in Jackson, Mississippi. She was buried in her hometown of Hermanville, Mississippi, in the Shady Grove Missionary Baptist Church Cemetery. Earnestine was only 54 years old. Here's some food for thought. Can you imagine this? A replica of the old Parrish High School that was located on Larkin Street in Hazlehurst, Mississippi, rebuilt on its original location or some ideal location. And in that building, in that replica, along with the history of Parrish High School, is a picture in memory of Annie Earnestine O'Quinn. Now that is Copiah County, Hazlehurst, Mississippi, Black History. And I'm Steve Collins, and thank you for watching another Copiah County, Hazlehurst, Mississippi, Black History Month. She was a hard-working girl, I know. She was more or less a go-getter, and she looked pretty good until she came down to the breast cancer. But she was my buddy, I tell you that. We was like 2 peas in a pod. Now she was like a sophomore and I was a junior, so I was a freshman and she was a sophomore. So I sort of like had to lean on her. So, and from then on, she was my leader.